Hey. Tottenham On Tour. Tottenham On Tour.
Welcome to Friday Night with the two Bryans. It's 3 on the bounce. Really excited about tonight. We've got a couple of special guests. Wow, one that's special, the other one that maybe isn't so special, depending on what you want to say about BobspurTV. I'll start with you, Bobby. Welcome to the channel, of course. You're always welcome. You know this. The piss take and the laugh is what it's about for the most part. But good to see you again. We've seen you on, 3 times today? Or 2 or 3
times? I've had a double Bryan overdose, and I don't know how I'm going to cope. But,
there's 2 of us. There's only one of you, and I feel double.
I know. But we've had a gentleman's agreement, so I've had to sing it today.
It's all about the gentleman's agreement. Well, I just want to shout out to Bobby quickly. If you watch that intro, the music was something I created, and the video was something Bobby created. If you're looking for something that is fucking dope, reach out to Bobby, because the guy does some fantastic video stuff, and really proud of that intro. And of course, my music is better than the video, but that's beside the point.
A minute in, and you already put.
I haven't sworn yet, Bobby. I haven't sworn yet. I know. Did I? What did I say? Where's the swear jar, man? We need a fucking.
There you go. Okay, so that's off. So when I do my rant, we're good. We're
anyway, good. there's a guest that we're really excited to introduce. Michael from This Is Football TV. Michael is new to YouTube, but also Bryan, you were on his channel a couple days ago.
I was on his. So I was on his great idea he's got, which Michael will speak a bit more about, which is called Football Fights. I went to war with a Chelsea fan and an Arsenal fan, and Tottenham won. So it was a refreshing state of affairs. But I'll let Michael introduce himself in his channel. And first of all, Michael, welcome to Tottenham On Tour, and tell everyone about yourself and the channel.
Good evening, gents. Yeah, thank you for having me on. Much appreciated. It was brilliant to have Bryan on the show earlier in the week. Football Fights is on my new channel. This is Football TV. Basically the concept behind it is, let's turn all the arguments that we all have about football into a competitive format. So, bring the arguments, the debates, opinions. I'm the referee. We get various podcasters, YouTubers, sort of super fans on every week. We set topics, and we basically put it out. So whoever's got the best argument can win the fight. And I'm pleased to say Bryan put in one hell of a performance on Football Fights this week. So it's well worth a watch. So please do head over to This Is Football TV and check it out.
Nice one, Danny. Really fantastic stuff. Looking forward to getting on there and arguing with a bunch of twats who support crappy clubs. It's going to be a lot of fun to do that. So fantastic stuff. We're going to talk tonight about the result yesterday, of course, and then what we expect at the weekend versus Watford, and then we're going to get into transfers, because we're obviously right at the end of the window, right? This is like Tuesday. What is it? Or sorry, Monday.
Monday, 11 o'clock. The window.
Yeah, sorry, Tuesday.
Monday. Sorry, Tuesday.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. Tuesday, 11 o'clock. The window closes. Of course, there's a ton of expectations from Spurs fans. Bobby, particularly, I was really looking for that Tomiyasu one to get over the line. I know he's talking about that a lot, so I'm looking forward to having a conversation with him, whether or not it's going to happen. And I want to welcome, of course, all the people in the chat. We've got Craig Bowler, we've got Danny, we've got Craig Bowler again. We've got Aiden, Ricky via THFC. Fantastic to see you here. Kirst, I want to shout out to you. Thanks for having us on your channel earlier. Glad to have you here as well. Fantastic in the comments. Really looking forward to tonight's show. You might notice something a bit different about this show that we just want to point out. Bryan and I both look really well lit. We've got a fancy logo in the background. We've done a bit of an upgrade on the studio. I know there's a bit of a ways to go, but Will Stewart is watching and is going, you know what? Maybe they're doing something I'm not doing yet. So Will, if you're watching or if you watch this, Will, we appreciate you and everything you do and your inspiration to channels on YouTube. That was a bit of a rant on my own, but speaking of rants, it is now time for, this is a thing that we do on the show on a regular basis that it just has to be said is one of the most important things about what we do at Tottenham on Tour. Bryan Gil, take it away.
Yeah, so again, it will be a rant about a certain parasite and Daniel Levy and the lack of transfer activity again. Bob Spur and I have been talking about it all day today on the streams we've gone on. And again, here we are, last few days of the window, no idea what's going to go on. We're actually weaker as a squad than we were before the window opened, losing Bow, losing Toby. You look at this Ronaldo deal. It just goes to show how quickly a deal can get done. Now, obviously, he wanted to go to United. He's got feelings there. But this morning, he was going to City. He left on a plane from Turin to Lisbon. And within 2 hours, the deal was like, he's going to United. Yet we can't get a deal for Tomiyasu over the line or of Vlahovic. Look at the Romero deal and the twist and turns that took. I'm just fed up of having to go through this time after time after time. Look at the Sarr deal. Now, don't get me wrong. This could be an absolute worldie that we have signed. But again, it's for the future. I want for the now. Enough of just planning. We should literally change our motto to, instead of to dare is to do, to literally, we're building youth and we're going to build a team in 3 years. That should be
to dare is to maybe, we're not quite sure yet, but we hope so.
Yeah, but basically that is it. And I'm sick and tired of it. We've got 5 million or 3 million for Sissoko, whatever the deal may be. We were haggling over 2-3 million for Tomiyasu. Well, guess what? There's your money. Go pay the money. Get it done. We need a right back. We need a centre back. We need backup for Kane. And we have absolutely no idea what we're doing. The naming rights, I don't know if people know, I tweeted it, the most random partnership I've ever seen in my life this week. WWE NXT have partnered with Enfield Town Football Club because of the work they have been doing with a performance centre near Enfield. NXT can get sponsored, or Enfield can get sponsored by the WWE, where 3 years we can't even get naming rights. I do. I'm obsessed with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, like over the top obsessed with him. But getting back to, it's just absolutely ridiculous how this club operates. We'll have to wait and see what happens Tuesday. I don't expect much. I probably expect us to sign a couple of 12-year-olds that are going to be great in 18 years' time. It's just enough of this nonsense. And just wrapping up, I want to say, first of all, thank you to Sissoko. Thank you for your service and wish you all the best. And also, the one good thing I will say Tottenham have done this week is appointing that mental health doctor. Because with these time and
it's the highlight of the transfer window.
It really is. I think it's such a smart move and getting someone on board. We all know coming out of this pandemic what goes on. We've all seen what happens with footballers, and I think it's a very, very, very smart move. But it's amazing how quickly we can get that done. But Tomiyasu, who I think is preparing for the Paralympics, he's probably helping with the kits and everything. It's just ridiculous. Bring players in, for crying out loud. Or Tuesday, 11 o'clock, there will be a rant of all rants from me. Sort it out, Levy. You parasite. Rant over.
Wonderful rant. Thank you for that, Brian. And most of it I agree with. I do want to just add that, and actually I want to get both of you guys' reactions to the rant, because I think, Bobby, you're probably agree with Brian for the most part. Michael, I don't know your position on Levy and those things, so we'll ask you. I do want to just mention the mental health thing that Spurs have done as a club. Brian and I have done a show on our previous channel, Tottenham Away, and shout out to those lads and what they're doing, called the May the 4th Be With You. It is about mental health. Brian exposed himself and explained what it was he's gone through, and many other people on the show as well. We've given other people an opportunity to help themselves in these situations, especially during a pandemic. So we'll be following up on that. So I just want to chuck that in there because I think it's important to say we are going to be doing another May the 4th be with you. It'll probably have a different name because we'll come up with something clever, and we want to do it before May the 4th. Bobby, I want to ask you, when it comes to what Bryan just said about the situation with their transfers, we're on the same WhatsApps and Twitter feeds, and every single freaking message you send is what's happening with Tomiyasu. So give us your rundown on what Bryan just said in agreement, and if there's anything else to add.
Well, people who are saying that by me pointing out that the squad is weaker than what we were last season, that's me being negative. It's not. It's not even an opinion. It's a fact. You can disagree with an opinion all you want, but the fact is we are weaker squad-wise, number-wise, than what we were at the end of last season. That's a fact. We've sent out more first-teamers than we have brought in. The SARs with all due respect, SAR, as good as he might be, I don't give a shit about SAR right now. I'm all about getting the players in to support the best striker in the world in our team. There's no way Kane's sitting there and going, oh, Galini, oh, Romero, oh, Gil, right there.
Romero, maybe. I mean, Romero's a good song.
We're going. Okay.
That's the only one, Bobby.
That's it. Oh, we're going places. There you go. No, we need to get players in. We need to get players in, and we need to do it quick. Unfortunately, we're left in that bargain basement thing. Where, on the previous stream, we were actually talking about bringing in the likes of a Troy Deeney or a Pookie, and that's where we are. Listen, we went from Pochettino and Conte to doing streams on fucking Fonseca, right?
Yep.
That's how bad we were there with our arms open saying,
Bobby, I remember those moments.
Mate, the amount of research we did, he likes scrambled eggs in the morning. This how much research we did on Fonseca. We were ready to welcome him in, and now we're in the same positions with football players. We're there talking about the likes of a Pookie or a Troy Deeney. Have I actually set Michael to sleep, or is he just frozen?
I think Michael is.
I think he's frozen.
He's back.
He's back. He's back. So yeah, that's I completely agree with Bryan. We need players for now, not the future. I don't give a shit about future right now. I do give a future about Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Of course I do, but right now our priority is the first team. With all due respect, me saying the first team squad is shit compared to the end of last season isn't me being negative. I'm just pointing out facts.
Yeah, I mean, I might disagree a little bit when it comes to saying shit, but I would agree with you that there's problems in that. Michael, are you with us at the moment? Because I can't tell if you're frozen or not. I think you might be frozen. He's frozen. Okay, so Michael, do us a favor, reconnect, exit, and come back. I'm gonna talk about my position on this, and I do think that you guys are both mostly right. Having said that, if you look at the starting 11 from last season to the starting 11 that will likely be this season, what player specifically or what position specifically isn't as good? And I say only as good because I don't necessarily know if any of them are better yet, because I think it's too soon to tell. It's really early into the season. What position isn't as good than that it was last season? So I think the one thing that's obvious is Alderweireld, who's our best defender. Does Romero replace Alderweireld? I think we'd all agree that probably, but we don't know because we haven't seen him play enough. So that's my only point is I agree with you guys' position on it, and I do think that it is a scenario where we would like to see more because we need depth. We need 2 or 3 players in each of those positions. But it is a. Let me finish quickly, Bobby. Yeah, it is a scenario where these types of rebuilds and these types of situations with bringing in a new football director, these things take time. In one transfer window, as much as we'd all like it to happen, get rid of all the deadwood, bring in all the new players. It never happens that way. It takes a bit of time. There's been some good moves and there's been some non-moves. So I'm a little bit in the middle of it. I agree with you for the most part, but I'm also like, well, if we get through January and next summer and I still feel this way, I'll be on the same page as you guys. Having said that, I also recognize that I know Brian's stewing over here. He's going like, "What have we seen previously from fucking Levy?"
I've got loads more to say than that, but I'm going to let Bob go first.
So I agree with that. But I'm forever the optimist, and that is my own failing to some extent. But well, Bobby, you go first on what you think I just said and how stupid I am.
No. I agree. First 11, absolutely fantastic. But I don't think it's unfair of me to bring in a director of football, and it's nothing against him because Levy's still signing the checks. My issues with the board. Yeah. But if we are going down that route, it's not unfair of me to think a Don needs to have my team, my first team squad in a better position, or at least the same position as last season. You're right. First 11 is absolutely fantastic. But if where's our Vinicius goals coming? Where's our Bale's goals coming from? If we lose a Sissoko, if we lose a Skip or a Højbjerg, last season, like it or not, we had a Sissoko, we had a Winks, and we had an Ndombele to come in. We don't have them anymore, rightly or wrongly. Ndombele's a twat, Sissoko's gone, and there's Winks. So, for numbers wise and quality wise,
we're missing something.
We're in a worse position. We're weaker.
Yeah. So I agree with you, Bobby, and I think that's true. I think there's some other things that need to come into the conversation when it comes to the new manager, the mentality, the effort, and the how fit they are. All of those things are going to be different than last season, and that might make some of those players that we think should be discounted better. We don't know, so I'm just throwing it out there. But Michael's back, and I'm glad he's back. So, Michael, we don't know your position on this. What are your thoughts on the transfer window so far? What do you think Spurs of what Spurs have done so far, and what should they be doing to get through the next 3 days and address some of the very specific issues I think most of us would agree that need to be addressed?
He's paid the internet bill, haven't you, Mark?
Yeah, I put 50p in a meter. Put 50p in a meter there. Sorry, lads. No, look, I do echo some of what Bob said, so I won't, repeat him word for word. But yeah, I am definitely a positive person. I am a half glass full kind of person. So, I can look at the positives of what we've done so far in the window. I think when you look at, replacing Lamela with Gil, looking at bringing in Romero. Okay, we lost Toby. He's probably been our best defender for the last, probably one of the best defenders we've ever had at the club. But was getting into the twilight of his career, and we brought in a really young, promising, Serie A Defender of the Year last season. Just won the Copa America. So when I'm looking at those two signings in particular, replacing what we had, I'm feeling pretty positive about those two signings when you think about them in isolation. But going back to Bob's point, when we look at, are we stronger than we were last season? I think where we finished, was it 5 points off top 4 last season?
Yeah.
Guttingly, that was a West Ham 3-3 and a defeat to Villa, at the end of the season. Those, I know you can go back and look at shoulda, coulda, wouldas across an entire season, but
those were pretty obvious, though, right?
We were 2 really obvious results away from probably clinching top 4. So and is the squad and the starting 11 stronger than it was this time last year? And I think you make a really good point. The goals Bale scored, and I think got 16 goals in all competitions last year. Where are those goals coming from? How are we replacing them? Because Lucas is not going to get 16 goals in all competitions. Bergwijn's not. Gil's not. I hope that one of them does, contribute in that way, but I don't see it. So, I do see the positives in what we've done so far, but there should have been a lot more done when you consider what our aspirations are. I mean, what our aspirations are as fans. What the boards are, I'm not sure, but surely it has to be top 4. It has to be Champions League football, and I'm struggling to see how we get there when you look at how strong Chelsea, Liverpool, United, City are going to be this season. We're going to need to go on an absolutely tremendous run to get anywhere close to those 4 teams this year.
Yeah, something ridiculous would have to happen, whether it's an injury or whether it's a player like a Bryan Gil who's sort of goes over and above anything you'd ever expect to happen happens. And let's be honest, we don't really see that. Bryan, did you want to add something?
So first of all, I want to say hello to Sue the
What's
Diamond
up, Sue
Smith.
How are you?
And
Big up
then,
Stell is in the
big up Stell. And then
as well.
just like what Bobspur and Michael said, look, we've lost bounce goals. We have lost, and whether you like it or not, whatever he has brought, his flair, his whatever, we've lost that. We've lost Toby. And then you look at it, Kane has now said he's staying, and he's been saying the whole time we need to match his ambitions. This was the season to say, right, okay, we got Paratici in, let's get the players in to show him or convince him that we literally mean business. During the summer, he has had to look at the management saga and just all these transfers just be absolute nonsense. And again, it's like, I want you to back my ambition, and we just don't do it. That's the annoying thing. We've got this one chance. If Kane's to sign a new contract, whatever goes on, we need to show him that we are trying to build something, that we are going in the right direction. And again, we're leaving it till the last minute where Levy Poker's going to come out, and the ones with egg on our face will be us.
It's fair. And I want to talk a little bit about yesterday, right? So we play, of course, it's the whatever that is, the ECL conference crap league that we're in. It's disappointing, of course, that we're in it. It's disappointing that it exists. I don't even know why it exists. It's obviously a UEFA money grab, which is what they do. But I want to talk about, was there anything that you guys saw specifically in that game? Of course, Bryan Gil is an obvious one. I think most of us were like, wow, that was impressive. Of course, it is against a very specific competition that maybe the level isn't, I mean, not even maybe, the level isn't where it should be. But there was something about the performance, and of course, Winks, probably the best performance he's had in years, but again, he found his level. Do you see, when we talk about depth in the squad, do you guys see, I'll start with you, Michael, if you don't mind. Do you see depth in the squad from some of the performances you saw, specifically in that first half before we saw sort of the likes of, Højbjerg and Sonny and all those other players who kind of came on? Was there anything encouraging about it that you thought, you know what, I'm not saying we don't need to deal with it, but is there more depth than we think there is?
I think there's definitely some positives to pull out. It's great to see Sessegnon, getting back into the squad after being out on loan, going to Hoffenheim last season. It's good to see him coming back in. I still think he looked, even though he was playing football, last season, still think he looked very rusty. I still think he was crap. Like he's still got a lot of work to do. But I think he definitely gives us, hopefully, a more dynamic option at left back in rotation for Reguilon. Because Davis just doesn't do that for me. I think he again has found his position at left centre back of a three. I think you mentioned it, but Winks did put in a very pleasing performance. It was an all action performance, passing, tackling, crossing, the lot. So I was impressed with Winks last night. But as you said, I think that is playing against a mid table Portuguese side is probably his level. So he was likely to shine.
What's up, Paul?
I didn't. To be honest, there wasn't much in that encouragement piece around the depth of the squad. I think the most impressive things were, as I said, Sessegnon being reintegrated into the team, seeing Romero stepping out with the ball, how aggressive he was. He's going to be up for a fight this season, which is brilliant.
I thought he was fantastic.
Seeing him ping diagonals, which were Toby-esque. That was really, 30 seconds into the game. Big diag into Kane, and we're straight through into goal. I hope that is a sign of things to come. Hopefully, and I thought Lo Celso showed moments. For me, I need to see him do it on a consistent level. He has got all the ability.
Michael, would you say he improved from the previous fixture? In against the same teams, he looked better. So
yes, he did look better.
At least that's something.
Yeah, I was hoping he was coming into this season after having a couple of years at Spurs now under his belt. Again, a Copa America win under his belt, and really come and show us what he's about and what we invested £30-odd million in for him. I like him as a player. I think, as I said, he's got all the technical ability in the world and quick thinking with that free kick, as we saw for the second goal. But what just really concerns me, can we keep him on the pitch? Can we actually get consistent game time out of him? And that's the one big question mark over him. You know, we had this problem with Lamela, you know, who's now obviously going to go and win a major trophy at Sevilla.
Yeah,
he scored 3 goals in 2 games already. But, you know, as much as we saw promising glimpses from Lamela, I don't think he's technically as good a player as Lo Celso, but we could just never keep him on the pitch. You know, we'd get 60 minutes out of him if we were lucky, and every 2-3 months he'd go off for 3-4 months. You know, so my hope really for this season is that Lo Celso can find a sustained period in the team and can really start to show us what he's about, because I think he's a hell of a talent. You know, I think when you start to look at, you know, a midfield 3 of, you know, Højbjerg, you know, 3 of Højbjerg, Skip, Ali, Lo Celso, you know, as our first, that would be our, you know, first choice moving into the season.
If we're playing a 4-3-3, right? That's when you in that.
Yeah. For me, that is a midfield that is full of creativity, full of work rate, full of dynamism and attitude and bite. You know, I feel positive about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby, I want to get your thoughts on it. Like, based on what you saw yesterday watching that game, and I know you're depressing most of the time and kind of annoyingly just sad.
Realistic.
Just sad. Just such a sad man. You know, I'm just like, oh, I got to talk to Bobby tonight. I'm just going to be depressed. What am I going to do? I guess I got to ask him questions. Bobby, what were your thoughts on yesterday's performance? Did you see any depth in that squad that you're like encouraged by? And also the opposite of probably the thing we're about to hear, how crap we are.
No, nothing. So no. Mate,
just having a laugh, Bobby. Just having a laugh. It's Friday night.
I can't be a hypocrite and say last week's defeat meant absolutely nothing against a poor side and our poor side, to suddenly changing my narrative to saying suddenly a 3-0 win against a pub team named after a chocolate means something. So no, for me, you know, it's all about he'll look good. There you go. He'll look good against poor defenders, and Lo Celso got some minutes in. But I'm hearing conversations of Hill maybe starting ahead of a Lucas or instead of a Bergwijn. I mean, with all due respect, fucking get a life. No chance. He can come on as and get some minutes.
Were you impressed by him though, Bobby? Like, you know, because I think there's been a lot of, and I've seen you and myself and other people in our groups and stuff talk about it from a perspective of nobody knows who this Bryan Gil kid is, to like, oh, that I'm surprised that he's better. He's better than I thought he was. I would say that he's better than I thought. That doesn't translate necessarily to results, but I
mean, let's be honest. Winks looked good last night. I think that's
it's true. Which says everything.
That's, Winks looked good last night. So even Doherty had an average game, but with regards to Hill, he's nowhere near definitively starting a first 11, but it certainly makes it onto the subs bench. And if we do need that extra option in the last 10, 15, 20 minutes, then he's certainly an option to bring on. I would argue before last night, it probably wasn't. So there you go. Something has come. We've got more confidence in a Hill coming onto the football pitch in the last half an hour and making an impact now than we probably did before yesterday's game.
For sure. Brian, did you see anything yesterday that made you think that we have enough depth? You know, and it sounds ridiculous. I'm hearing myself say it, and I'm like, I know I'm completely wrong. But did we have enough depth in the squad to not bring anybody else in and still compete? We're in 4 competitions. Yeah, it's just, you know.
Don't get me wrong. We've got the numbers.
Numbers are fine.
There's nowhere near enough quality. Like we were speaking before we went on air, I was expecting a very strong bench yesterday, but I did not expect the strength on the pitch to begin the game.
First team wasn't.
Now, I said as well, I think during these cup games, he's going to play a fairly strong team at home and take no one away because there's no travelling, no whatever. They're numbers there. They were just literally numbers there, but there is not the strength in depth to go for 4 cups. If we get through the knockouts or through the group stage of this, which if we don't, Jesus goddamn Christ. And then if we're still in the Carabao Cup and then the FA Cup and then going for, let's say, a Europa or a push for a Champions League, there is no way near the strength in depth, but as for Gil, Brian, let's just go Brian. I can always get that name right, Brian. I was saying, we always seemed growing up. I can always remember we had that maverick player, maybe a Waddle, maybe a Gaza, a Van der Vaart, that just gets the ball,
Something a
edge of
bit
your
special.
edge of your seat. You don't know what's going to happen. Direct, aggressive, always thinking forward. And not saying that Gil is going to get anywhere near those people, but for the first time when a player actually got the ball, I was like, oh, something might happen. And to do that within 2 games is incredible, but we've got to manage him right. We can't say, right, you're the brand new star, you're starting, you're the brand new European sensation, you belong. He's got to be integrated and played correctly, but it's a very, very impressive start from him.
Yeah, something exciting about Gil, I thought, like, that we haven't really seen is that his ability to get in behind defenses that are going to sit deep and do the low block. That's something that Spurs, with the players that we have, other than Harry Kane and sometimes Sonny, we're able to get in behind. And usually it would take a while to get to that position, or it would take a long ball, or it would take a counterattack rather than just, dominating possession, being in the opposition's half, and then somebody making the right run. What Gil did yesterday, and again, I know it's against an opposition that isn't fantastic, but he kept doing it. He kept making these runs in between the lines, and the first goal was because of that. I think there's something special about that. Again, it needs to translate in the Premier League.
Exactly.
I don't know that it will, but it is like, we need that so bad. We need a player who can do that. I think Lucas Moura is a player that we thought could do that, because he has ability to run at players, but he just runs at players and then loses the ball often. So it's a bit frustrating. So we've talked a little bit enough about yesterday. I think. Let's talk about Watford at the weekend. We've got Watford at the weekend. Moussa Sissoko has been transferred to Watford. We've got a Danny Rose, who now plays for Watford as well. It's a Watford team that is, they're championship level. They haven't really made their squad that much better. They beat Aston Villa 3-2 in the opening game of the season, which was an impressive performance, but Villa were crap in that game.
Watford were great.
And Watford
weren't good.
Yeah, no, I'll give Watford credit. But if you look at 2 out of the 3 goals, it was a Villa mistake, not a Watford, something Watford did from a quality perspective. So I would say that, we shouldn't be worried too much. Michael, I'll ask you first. First of all, from now that Harry Kane's back, this is a big question for me, and I think I want to talk about this quite a bit. I'm obviously, Bobby and Brian, want to get your opinion. What shape do we play with Harry Kane? We played 4-3-3 the entire preseason. We played 4-3-3 against City and Wolves. That was without Harry Kane. Harry Kane comes back. Does Harry Kane sit in that center of the 3 in a 4-3-3? Or do we shift the way we play? Do we change the way we play and we go back to a 4-2-3-1 or a 3 with wing backs? And like, what do you expect to see? I think Harry Kane starts, and I could be wrong. I think Brian might disagree. I think Harry Kane starts no matter what, because he's now with the squad. If you look at Nuno and what he did with Raul Jimenez, he knows what he has with a really good number 9 and what he can get out of him. And of course, Harry Kane is the best number 9. What do you think? What do you expect to see in this game from a shape perspective, and how we're going to see Harry Kane integrate, and then who else plays with him? Who goes? Bergwijn's maybe out, or Lucas is out. What do you think we'll see in this game?
Yeah, I think Harry definitely starts. I think that he starts games even when he's not fit, Champions League finals and etc. So I think
that's his own mistake.
And he's back now scoring goals and got minutes under his belt that he needs, and found the back of the net on last night. So I fully expect him to start at the weekend. It's difficult because I feel like we will go for a 4-2-3-1. I think that's how we will line up. Although, sort of the narrative for most of the summer has been that we are looking for a striker to play with Kane. So that that kind of makes me double think, second guess myself on what the lineup, the formation might be for the weekend, and if we are thinking of somehow trying to partner Son and Kane up front. And there has been lots of rumours that we want Son through the middle, with Kane dropping a little bit deeper. So
is that a 4-4-2 for you, Michael?
Are we going to go 4-4-2? Are we going to go Burnley? And are we going to name players all numbers?
I think it might be coming back, Michael. I think 4-4-2 is the new 4-2-3-1.
Hey, look, it worked all right with Crouch and Defoe, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Got us into the Champions League for the first time.
Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily be against it, to be honest. With Kane playing in maybe that deep lying forward role. Knitting the play together, but still, being that goal threat that he even was last season under Mourinho in such a defensive mindset. With And then looking at, I don't know, I still think it'll be a 4-2-3-1. I think we'll have Skip and Højbjerg sitting in front of the back four, with Ali playing a bit more advanced, Son on the left, and then take your pick of Moore or Bergwijn, whoever Nuno fancies on the day on the other side. So that's how I think we'll line up. I expect us to go for it at the weekend.
Should do, right?
I fully expect us to go for it. We're playing against a team, like you said, newly promoted. I was so frustrated against Wolves last week. Okay, we got the victory. We grinded it out, and it was it's great to come into the season with two victories, 6 points, 2 clean sheets, and beating Man City. But for me, the performance last week was just. It was really tough to watch, and I've got a 9-year-old son that I'm trying to convince to love Tottenham, and sitting there with him watching that game. He's like,
"Good luck with that, mate."
He's like, "But Dad, Wolves, we have barely we've barely had a shot, So again,
to be fair, Michael, Wolves barely had a shot as well.
Yeah, true. They dominated the play, and they pushed us back for long periods, and I was really frustrated watching that game, and I just want to see us go out on the front foot and attack, play through the lines and attack. And I think that has to be our mindset, because we've had, for me as a fan, it does. After the last 18 months of Mourinho, I just want to see some positivity, and I just want to see some dynamic play. We've got the skill, and we've got the attributes in the players to do it.
The quality is there. It's just how do we use it, right?
Yeah, I just want to be excited by my team. And I'm so glad we don't play. We're playing Sundays, because it doesn't have a chance to ruin my weekend if it's a Friday or lunchtime on a Saturday.
Yeah, you get through the whole weekend before you're tortured. Brian, before I get to you, because I know you're stewing a bit, I want to ask Bobby when he's done looking at porn. What are your thoughts?
I'm telling him I'm going to be late tonight. But it's all right.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. What are your thoughts on the game against Watford? How do you see us setting up, and what would you like, and what do you expect?
Well, with regards to getting a son to support Tottenham, mate, I've tried to brainwash my 4-year-old Bob Spur Jr. for 2 years.
He's brilliant, by the way.
Yeah, he's a celebrity in himself.
Great kid.
He actually, and he's seen a bit of Spurs, and he actually brought me adoption papers. He's like, "Dad, you must hate me. You hate me so much. I want to get adopted." So
I'm out, Pop. I'm out. You're deluded, you prick.
Yeah, that's it. What have I done to you, Dad?
You know what he said? He said at the bottom of it, when I asked him, like, how do you feel about your dad? He said, "Piss off, Bob."
That's it. Yeah. I told him to piss off live on stream last week.
I thought it.
Yeah, it didn't go down to social services came around. No. With regards to, I thought against Man City, second half, we were the team on the front foot. I thought we had them backpedaling. £1 billion.
We deserve the win.
Yeah, we deserve to. Against Wolves, we have to take everything in consideration. There wasn't a single away win on the Saturday last week, and only Chelsea beat Arsenal away from home. And let's be honest, Arsenal was shit. So
Bobby, just to quickly interject, do you think that the away scenario that, of course, we saw was dramatically different last season, that this season it's actually gone the other way, even further the other way? And we saw it with Spurs against City. Our fans, arguably helped us win that game.
Stats prove that, Brian. You see all the results. There's hardly any away wins, and if they are, they're very hard fought.
Yeah.
To go away to a very good Premier League established team with their fans at home, I thought we were brilliant. For all the 5,824 crosses that they put in, we coped with them all. And if you look at the highlights,
from Traore, they were fucking useless.
Yeah, well, if you look at the highlights, all the chances were ours. They had one good chance for Traore, which was Dyer's own fault. But apart from that, Sonny 1-on-1, Kane 1-on-1, Bergwijn again, Sonny's rebound, header from Dyer. All the chances were ours. So 25 shots at goal from Wolves, all fair enough. But they had the same shots on target as us. And all their shots were easily gathered by Lloris. So I thought it was a really good, when you take in consideration all the situation, all the factors, to get an away win at Wolves, and not many teams are going to do that. I thought we'd done brilliant. With regards to how we're going to set up against Watford, in an ideal world for me, it'd be the front three that have started the first 2 games. It really would. But then I can't say Harry Kane's the best striker in the world and not start him. So it will come in, and I do believe it's going to be Lucas, who looked a bit.
Is it a 4-3-3 for you though, Bobby? Like, what's the shape? 4-3-3 with Kane at the head of it.
Yeah, I still think he'll stay with basically the same team. Apart
really
from
interested
Kane.
to see how that pans out. Yeah, pushing Son to the left, taking Bergie off, essentially.
That's it. No, take Lucas off,
putting
Bergie to left,
Bergie
on the right, Berg one on the right, and then Kane up.
Either one
top.
would be appropriate.
I mean, we shouldn't really be starting with two defensive midfielders against Watford. But then we don't have any options. You can't bring a Hill in. That'd be two attacking mode with Ali there as well, unless Ali's pushed back a bit. We haven't got an Ndombele, hence the reason we need another midfielder. Maybe it's I don't know. I honestly don't know. So for me, it will be the three we've got normally. Like I say, the only change I can see happening in an ideal world is Kane coming in for Lucas. For me, ideally, it'd be the normal front three, but that's not going to happen. Kane needs to come in.
I also think, Bob, having Skip in the team as well as Højbjerg potentially allows Højbjerg to venture forward a bit more.
Yeah.
Like we saw him do that to great effect at the Euros.
In the Euros, he was really good at that. Even in our game against City, what was that? He did that a bit of a nutmeg.
That was against Wolves as well.
That was ridiculous. I was like, Højbjerg's got a bit of something about him there.
That's another chance we had. So, no, I think you're right. He looked so much better and freer playing for Denmark in that allowance to move forward. And against Watford, there's no reason why we need them two sitting defensive midfielders. So, spot on. I think he needs to have that.
Skip to sort of be the destroyer or whatever and sit, and Højbjerg to go box to box, and Ali to hopefully try and
the fact that they can change that too in any moment. Like Højbjerg can be the destroyer and Skip can go forward if the transition works, if the moment works, where it's like you're in the right position, in the right place to take the ball forward, to take the team to transition forward. That's incredibly valuable, I think. I don't know. So let's get on to Bry's position on this. What are your thoughts?
As I've said the whole time, I want to start the same team that started against Wolves. Not one of them have deserved to be dropped. Not one of them. And with Watford's defence, and from what I remember, they're not a young defence. They're quite aging and a couple of over 30s. Let Son, Bergwijn and Moura literally just run them ragged. And then after like 60, 65 minutes, you bring on the best striker in the world to just feast on everything that will come their way. I think we're in a lot stronger position to bring Kane on and finish the game off than to have him on. And then if it's not working, who do we bring on or where do we go? So for me, until the internationals come back, where we've got Palace, Chelsea, then the filth, that's when he starts. That's when he's had a few games under his belts. He's played for England, and then you bring him back in. But for me, not one player that starts in 11 deserves to be dropped right now. So I stick with the first 11.
I think that's a good shout. I think it's a hard thing to do when you have a player like Harry Kane, who is arguably the best player in the Premier League, won the Golden Boot, created the most chances last season. He's now no longer available, or not no longer available. He's now available, and you have an opportunity to say he comes into this side. This is a side that we just agreed that beat City 1-0, beat Wolves 1-0 away. 2 games that you have to get a ton of respect for that. I think that's impressive what the team did. But if you watched last night, and I'm not saying that last night is a good gauge as to level of quality of what we'd expect, but the difference when Harry Kane is in the team and what he offers and what he actually allows other players to do around him, when he drops deep and other players go forward. Heel did it a few times. Sonny did it when he came on. There's just something about Harry Kane's dynamism when he isn't necessarily stuck in that 9 role, just on the shoulder of a defender. What he does is he completely makes defenses uncomfortable. Like they're going, oh shit, where did Harry Kane go? Fuck me, what am I supposed to do? And as soon as that happens, they lose sight of Lucas Moura was on the right, Bergwijn was on the left, or Gil in this situation yesterday. When he has that effect because he pulls defenders away, you can't not play him. He has to start. He has to start because he's going to make every defense completely fucked, essentially, when they try to defend properly against a team that has him in the side because of his passing ability and his finishing ability and his understanding of how to sit between that last defender and that midfield and knowing those spaces and dropping deep when he has to and sending the balls across. His passing is unreal. It's better than Kevin De Bruyne, if you ask me. Like, and it showed last season.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
It's something
he went up
really
a level
developed.
with his passing. It's just absurd what he does.
It's something that he's really, really obviously worked on and developed over the last couple of years.
He said it like a couple seasons ago. He's like, I got to work on my assists. The next season, he got the most.
Yeah, some of those cross-field passes, they're like Paul Scholes-esque.
Yeah, it's all the Paul Scholes-esque, but he's also a striker. This is a 9 who's a 10. When he plays in the box for us when we're defending, who's a 6. Like, he just does everything. So, yeah, absolutely love Harry Kane, and I'm gushing a little bit, I suppose.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's our Roy of the Rovers, isn't he? He's, so.
Yeah. Glad he's with us. Glad he's staying with us. It's huge. It's absolutely huge.
Oh, it is huge. And, look, I love seeing Harry drop into the 10 position and play. He did it perfectly last night.
Oh, it's passing.
He played that role absolutely perfectly last night. What I don't want to see from Harry is him dropping but behind the halfway line.
But how does that work in a 4-3-3 for you guys? I'll ask you, Bobby, first, and I want Brian and Michael's position as well. If we are going to play a 4-3-3 and Harry Kane plays at that top of that 3, if he drops deep, it's no longer a 4-3-3 anymore. What does that mean tactically speaking?
Then we need Ali from a few years ago. He's the one who needs
to because he's going to come in and fill in that position. Yeah,
we need the legs. We fortunately got the legs in Bergwijn and Sonny either side, and that if you remember the game away to City last season and Arsenal, that's where we won it. Kane knocked down to Sonny. Sonny went to the pitch and scored that screamer against Arsenal on the counter attack. So if Kane or when Kane falls deep, Michael's spot on. He will. He does. He has done. He was doing it last night.
Yeah,
that's when we need that Ali from last season. When we can remember Ali scoring against Chelsea from that deep ball from Dyer with that one touch and finish against Chelsea away from home. We remember the 2 goals against Chelsea again with the headers that Eriksen put in, although they were a bit further afield. Closer to the penalty area. So that's what we need. Dele Alli's probably been brought in for that reason, knowing full well that when Kane does go that deeper, make those runs,
push it, get forward, getting those spaces right.
There you go. And Harry Kane will find him. Yeah.
His passing is absurd. It's ridiculous. Brian, what are your thoughts on what shape wise what we'll see? We were talking about a 4-3-3. You got Kane at the top of that 3, right? In a 4-3-3. How what we saw yesterday is him dropping deep, and then that not really being a 4-3-3 anymore. It kind of sort of changed the shape of what Spurs were. That's basically how we're going to play. Like, we're going to play what we do around Harry, right? Like, it isn't going to be, oh, Harry, you got to change what you're doing. It's going to be like, he's doing this. How do you guys respond, right? That's likely what we'll see. So, what do you expect to see moving forward with that situation?
So I've said it from the beginning. Harry Kane does not suit a 4-3-3. That's my honest.
Do you think he can? Like, can he adjust?
Like Bob,
or do we just change the?
Like Bob said, if we do it, we need the old Dele, and then it's like, wait a minute, Dele, are you running and being this runner that you're playing now, or are you going more central and you're doing what you did? And this is kind of the whole thing that when he went on his downfall, he was playing deeper and we didn't have anyone coming forward. And what did he do? Where was he meant to be?
What was good about him?
Exactly. I just don't see how a 4-3-3 suits Harry Kane whatsoever, because if he just stayed up top, then it would get him because he's at his lethal best. But if he drops, then you're asking 2 players to keep making runs that Kane does, and I just don't see it. We don't have. You need a Lampard, a Gerrard that make those runs.
Quick question to ask you about this: are we overthinking the shape of the team and assuming that because we've had a 4-3-3 that's what we'll move forward with? And if we do that, depending on transition in defense or offense, because it does matter, right? Like, we could play a 4-3-3 defensively, and we could play a 4-2-3-1 going forward, and you can shift into those based on what the manager expects, right? Like, we can make the the players should be able to, arguably, if they're professionals, make those decisions as the game is going. Is that
so?
Because I saw, sorry to interrupt, but what I saw yesterday when it came to Harry Kane dropping deep, I was like, whoa, that's totally different than what we've seen from this team so far. And when he did, the shape of our team changed completely. Was that intentional, or was that just the team responding to Harry Kane?
So if you look at it, we've played 4-3-3 the whole preseason.
Yeah.
There's been no changes. There's
though.
been no messing around. And Kane comes in and we change it. I think Nuno was pretty much playing preseason on the premise that he thought Kane was gone.
You're right.
And it was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. And now it's like, what are we going to do here? I mean, the prime person for this, and I think would work wonders in it, is Dane Scarlett. Dane Scarlett is made for a 4-3-3. He is absolutely prim.
Down the right or the left, you mean?
I'd even put him in the centre, mate. I'll put him in the centre. Like, not saying he should start above Kane, but if we were to use a striker in a 4-3-3,
style-wise,
it suits him down to the ground.
He's on the end.
He's on the shoulder. He's got the pace. He's got it all. And again, it comes down to, as Bob and I were saying, the strength in depth. There is no one. Scarlett is going to be too much pressure. We've just done this for 6-7 years where we can't find a replacement for him or a backup, whatever you want to say, or a partner.
It's pretty hard.
And we've adapted our style like we did with Jose. We said, right, Kane, this is what you're doing. Son, you do that. And you can do that because Kane is fantastic at coming deep.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't even got Bow anymore. We just haven't got it. And the two people that may be able to do it are Scarlett and Hill. And we're talking about an 18-year-old and a 20-year-old. And you can't put the pressure on them to score 20 plus goals or whatever in their first season. You just can't do it. And it will mean overplaying Kane and undervaluing him. He picks up an injury, but I just cannot see him or us playing a 4-3-3 that will work fluidly with Harry Kane in the starting 11. I just don't see it.
I think it's a good shout. I don't either. I think that's a big part of what I'm concerned about. But then I watched yesterday. Question for me, Bobby. Get off the porn for a minute. What shape did we play yesterday? Do you think? Like we had Harry Kane. You saw him drop deep. We all saw him come in, control the game. He was a 10, and then he was a 9. What was our shape? It wasn't a 4-3-3 at all, but it wasn't also a 4-2-3-1.
Don't you guys think
what was our shape?
Don't you guys think we played 3 at the back?
If we get Tomiyasu, I think.
No, that was my question.
Yesterday, sorry.
Was it 3 at the back?
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah, it was Davis, Dyer, Romero, wasn't it?
Yeah, Davis, Dyer, Romero.
Sessegnon, Doherty, wing back.
But Sessegnon was like, I saw a 4-3-3 and Sessegnon playing a left wing, not very well, but playing on a left wing. It's a bit confusing, and that just maybe me just looking at it going, that was weird, because we had seen so much of the 4-3-3, in preseason. But yeah, interesting.
Listen, I think the best in that 4-3-3 position. I think the best player who plays that kind of role is Bobby Firmino.
He's a great anti-9.
Yeah, and Kane obviously has elements of that in his game. Dropping deep, picking up the ball. But Firmino does not have the goal output. Does not have the striker's instinct that Kane has, and that's why I enjoy seeing Kane drop into that position, into that deeper position, and playing in those pockets like Firmino. But I want Kane in the box. I want Kane on the end of things. I want him picking the ball up on the edge of the area and hitting the back of the net. And testing.
But he did that, Michael, and he did the other stuff.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Harry, he's so freaking good. He does all of it.
I don't understand why he can't do it
It's
again.
so
Why does everyone think it's a one-off season where he can't be an assist and a goal scorer again?
Because they're idiots. Because they don't understand that that is something he's now good at, and we should accept it and expect it.
Exactly. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially with Bergwijn looking a better player already. Sonny possibly going to the next level after his contract being all sorted. We look more solid in defence with a Romero or the other two. We certainly look stronger in midfield with Skippy and Højbjerg with another season. And Ali, hopefully coming back. If not, we do need another Cam in as well. So I don't think there's anything wrong with us thinking that Harry Kane not only can't do it again, but should be able to do that again and should be allowed to do that again. People just think last season was a one-off. I don't think it was. His goals have never been a one-off. He's proved that over and over again. It's not going to change for anybody else's sake. So, no, carry on as you were, sir, as you were. Because I'll tell you what, you're probably going to get better players. You've certainly got more options in Hill going forward. You've got more informed Lucas driving from midfield. You've certainly got Bergwijn, who seems to be slowly and surely getting his confidence back. And Sonny, we all know about Sonny. So there's absolutely no reason for me why he can't do it again and finish the season top goal scorer and top assist maker. I've got faith. He's the best striker in the world. Why not?
Correct.
I agree. No, I agree, Bob. I think for me, the point I think I'm trying to make and not making it very well is that I think it just the fact that Harry has to do that highlights the deficiencies behind him. You know, and if the fact that I think he feels he has to do that, and I think, you know, if we had those stronger players behind him, or we had more creative, we had players that were chipping in with more assists, more goals, then, you know, could Harry Kane be getting 30 plus Premier League goals a season rather than 21?
Don't you think he loves it? I think he thrives off it.
Yeah,
I think he actually does. He said, didn't he? He took just as much confidence getting those 4 assists for Sonny than what he did scoring a goal in that game as well. And he loves it. I think he strives on it. I think he's always looking at. I mean, he'll score goals regardless. He could play goal and still get us goals.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. He's getting us great numbers in goals wise, but you're thinking only if. What could it be? What could happen?
Yeah, if we not maybe at Harry's level, because, you know, he's, you know, one of the top 5 players in the world for me, but, you know, if we had players of, you know, in and around that ability and that quality,
if we had an Eriksen
behind him, you know, that's kind of the bit for me. I want to see. I feel like he's doing 2 players' work. I think that's the point I'm trying to make.
You know what it is? The Harry Kane I really want to see is the Harry Kane last season at the Lane, where like 6 hat tricks, back to back Leicester, back to back with Hull, where he had an Eriksen
4 goals, 3 goals.
That's the ruthless Kane I want to see and love. I mean, obviously, I love his passing, his assists.
Do you think that comes with? Sorry to interrupt, but do you think that comes with us not having that Eriksen replacement? Would that be the argument?
We need. That's what I'm getting at. We need an Eriksen replacement to get that Harry Kane
because
back.
He doesn't need to do that.
Exactly.
He's got somebody who does it for him.
We need to bring someone in. Obviously, trying to find someone at peak Eriksen's level is going to be very, very, very hard to find.
Arguably, Van de Beek is
I mean, let's talk about it. I don't understand why we haven't gone in for. You don't want him, Bob? I'd snap your hand off him right now.
I would have wanted him directly from Germany, or sorry, not Germany, from Ajax or Leipzig, wasn't he? Where was he?
Before he went to United.
But now, mate, you're bringing in a player who's not had any football for over a year. His confidence shot to pieces. He's got a mental thing. If we want play, we can't say in one sentence that we want players to come in right directly into the first team and make a
perform.
Whereas it's going to take a good few months for him to get back into match fitness level, match fitness mentally. I just right now, what I'd prefer is Van der Beek to do a Lingard, go away, go on loan, build up a bit of confidence, then us go for him. Of course, there's every chance that Man United might want to keep him.
Are we not the lone club in that scenario, Bob?
I don't know, mate.
I mean, I'm not saying we should be, but we could be. Right?
I rated him so much. I wanted him when he was, but to come in now, I just think we've got so much work to do with him.
I just think sometimes a player like that, though, Bob, like sometimes a player like that who's being brought in expecting to have a certain amount of football and a certain level of the amount of games they're going to play and the amount of involvement they're going to have at a top club, who hasn't really been given that. Like, he thought something was going to happen, the opposite happened. He has something to prove, right? He has something to prove, though, in that scenario, right? So if you go, let's get this guy in, he's got something to prove. Let's get him in. Let's take him on loan, you know, and he just has to prove his parent club that they're wrong about him. And so he comes in and he does the things. I'm just saying it's a maybe scenario. I'm not saying it's right, but I think that it's something to consider because he has the quality. We played against that Ajax side in Europe, right? And they were fucking good, and he was a massive part of that. Now, you know, he wasn't. It
was also part of the midfield.
I know you're going to say that. That's what I was just going to say because I know he wasn't perfect, but he was fucking good, and with coaching, he could be brilliant.
I rate him, but I'd be a hypocrite if I said I'd take a Van der Beek coming in because he wouldn't make subs bench for the first month in my eyes. He wouldn't be capable of making, because and the way we play with that fitness we play with the legs that we finally have. We've seen Dele Alli do 11 kilometers like he's never done before. He's not going to be at that level. So I'd be a complete hypocrite if I said, Van der Beek, get him in, knowing full well he'll be at Ndombele fitness level when he first comes in. Mentally, of course, better, but he'll be Ndombele fitness level. And Ndombele's nowhere near. So I love him as a player. Of course I do. And I'd want someone of his quality to come in. And I wouldn't be against him coming in, but we need a cam. We need an attacking midfielder, like Michael says, someone who needs to come in and at least challenge that substitute bench, at least at the minimum.
Would you take Lingard, Bob?
Sorry, go away.
Would you take Lingard?
Yeah, I take Lingard over almost anybody else we're linked to at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Based on what he did last season.
So you know what it is.
He's a first team member for the squad, isn't he? He's the first team member for the squad, and he's had a really good one at West Ham. And yeah, I mean, for me,
he's easy choice, I think.
Yeah, and for me, he's better than who would be.
Go out and get him, right? Go out and get him. I'll
take him over a Traore any fucking.
Absolutely,
without a doubt.
100%.
The thing you got to look at with Van der Beek is look at the market we're meant to be shopping in. It's like loan with obligation, or we haven't got the money to do it. If we were to get him now,
everything's a loan at the moment.
You got the international break where we'll give Nuno 2 weeks to solidly work with him. So I'm not saying after 2 weeks he's match fit, but I think on a loan for the quality he does have, and I'm trying to look at this now realistically, not like, oh, let's go get this one, that one. Realistically, if you're looking at it, loan market, it's going to be probably with an option to buy or whatever. He is quality. He's been underused at Manchester United. I don't understand what has happened there. I mean, they came in at the 11th hour and stole that from us.
I think it's poor management, if I'm honest. I really think that Ole has fucked that up completely.
It could be.
If you watch their game, and I watch every game because I just love football enough that I'll watch every game. If you watch the game against Southampton, he was the reason they drew that game. If Fred and Matic. Oh, McTominay's been injured. He just had a surgery. Fred and Matic over Van der Beek. I'm just going, what are you guys doing? That guy's on the bench. How that to me is just poor management. And I do think that a player like that would offer a lot to Spurs. And of course, I agree with you, Bobby, too. It does take some time. It's not something you bring him in and immediately has an effect. But
cigarette break, guys.
He has enough quality that you would expect him to have an effect, at least on that Man United squad, who they're desperate for midfielders to do something more than they're doing. We've talked a lot. Sorry, go on, Michael.
Sorry, Brian. I was just going to say when we were linked with Lingard previously, I think it was a window or so ago. Yeah. I was dead against it. I was like, no. And I was thinking, all that crap on social media, it just coming across like a right idiot. There was
he
loads
went
of
through
stuff
a lot of personal stuff though, true, ugly stuff, and he, nobody deals with that well. It's difficult.
No,
but he's come out of it well. Is my
very
point.
Well, and I was very skeptical about us being linked with him, wanting him. I didn't want him at all, and what he went and did at West Ham, I was so impressed with what he did at West Ham.
He was incredible.
And it can go two ways when you go out on loan, because especially going out on loan from a big club to a not so big club. You can like West Ham.
Chuck that in there, Michael. Chuck that.
You can it can go two ways, and he absolutely went there with the point to prove, and he delivered. And I think he'd be the perfect candidate for us, and especially as it would probably be a loan transfer, like Brian said as well.
Why do you think West Ham haven't taken it on though? Especially with Antonio being the only striker that they've got. I know Lingard isn't a striker, but he's certainly got goals in him. It just makes me wonder.
I agree, it's an odd one. I'm surprised they haven't done really, especially with what he did last season.
My thoughts on it are, and maybe I'm just putting two and two together here, is that United were going to keep him. Weren't going to loan him back. He's going to be part of the squad. I just think now they've got.
So they didn't go for it because of that? Is that what you think? They're just whatever. After what he just did, there's no reason for us to think we're going to be able to buy him.
Well, at the time, I just don't think it was on the table. I think now, in the last couple of days, the situation might change because of the Ronaldo transfer.
Yeah,
I think that I don't think Ronaldo was. I know we're going to get onto it, but Ronaldo was never in. I don't think he was in United's plans. And obviously, the opportunities come up.
Yeah.
In the last 48 hours, We can't let him go to Man City. We're going to go and take him. And I think, is Martial going to go out on loan? No.
Martial is terrible.
They're not. He's not going to go out on loan. They're not going to move him out on loan. So I think sort of one of those attacking players, if they want, I think Ollie's going to have to say to Lingard, "You're not going to get first team football. Can we get you a loan in these last couple of days?" And we need to be stepping in there.
Snatch him up in a second. Like that is a great loan. That is a really, really good loan because
it immediately improves our team.
You know what he does, Michael? If we watch what we saw in Gil yesterday and what he brought to the team and those in between the lines and that sort of left-sided forward that kind of like creates, that does other things, not just in between the lines on the vertically, but horizontally, knows how to sort of like drag players around. He's really good at that. I watched him at West Ham and I was like, shit, man, he makes defenses really uncomfortable. Gil did that yesterday. This is a player who's done it at the highest level in the Premier League for United and now for West Ham. I think it's like if we don't recognize that and at least try to go in for a loan for him for this season, I think it's a missed opportunity massively. But at the same time, there's a part of me that is kind of going like, where do you play him exactly? Because you got like, and it depends on the shape, right? It comes down to, are we a 4-3-3? Is it a 4-3-2-1? I'm so interested as to the shape we're going to play with Harry and the team, because it changes everything with Harry and the team and how we set up. So yeah, but when it comes to what he does and what he brings, he's a good player with a really good attitude and with results. He scores goals. He creates. He assists in a position that we need that from. If Bergwijn had the numbers he had, we'd be stoked as fuck. But it's a very similar player or similar position, and we're not getting that from Bergwijn. And I do think that he'd be good for that. I'm going to move on, guys. I'm going to move on because we're going to get into transfers. We're sort of talking transfers as we are right now. I want to talk about. I'm going to start with you, Bob, because I know and love your position. Don't agree with all of it, but I'd love to have the chat with you about it. When it comes to rating how good our transfer business has been done so far and where we are and where we need to be, if you're going to rate it now with three days to go, it's Tuesday, right? Saturday.
There's one official working day left.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I don't agree with that. I don't think bank holidays matter when it comes to transfers, but let's just do the amount of time from today until the end of Tuesday. If you're going to rate our transfer business and what you would have wanted, realistically wanted, and I'll throw that in there because I think this is the thing that many of Spurs fans are doing is like, there's an expectation of getting rid of all the dead wood and replacing them with all the best players. I think that's completely unrealistic. I think it's a bit ridiculous. Yeah. I think what we should be recognized, and I think, if you're reasonable about it, what we want to replace and what we want to get rid of, it's about half of each. Yeah. There's 5 or 6 players we want to get rid of. We've gotten rid of 2 or 3 of them. There's 2 or 3 positions that we have to address. We've addressed 1 or 2 of them. So like, let's look at it that way objectively and try to understand as we are right now before, the end of this window. How do you rate it? And if you rate it based on the number you rate it on, what would get you to a point where you'd be like, you know what, that's a pretty good window?
Yeah. 3 out of 10.
We're a 3 right now. So what would need to happen to get you to a 7 or an 8 where you're happy?
Bring in a Bale replacement and a Vinicius replacement. Not
goals.
Not quality
numbers.
Not quality wise. Yeah. Not quality wise. We just need that right-hand sided first team player, a Lingard maybe, and a striker and attacking option up front. Because body wise, we're a lot weaker. We're weaker.
I watched your debate on the Irish Hotspur the other night, and it was fascinating a little bit because you and David obviously disagreed considerably, and there's part of me that just agreed with you and agreed with him, depending on sort of how it was discussed, and I think you were both right to some extent. So, you got to look at facts. First team member wise, we're
weaker now than what we were at the end of last season.
Now, quick question on that, because this is one of the things I thought of. Why do you say first team? Is it because we know about what we had and we don't know about what we now have? So if you talk about, just as an example, we replaced we replaced Alderweireld with Romero. Mm-hmm. So the unknown means we don't know how good Romero is going to be.
No, that's fine. No, I'd say that's pretty even. I said that's pretty even.
Right. So
and a Hill coming in for Lamella, yeah, brilliant. That's fine. And
where's the discrepancy for you?
A Bale. The Bale goals, the Vinicius goals, the fact that Ndembele doesn't want to be here anymore, the fact that Auria's gone, was always going to go. Sissoko's gone. Winks is still here. So, I have every right to think my club, 4 days before the window shuts, should be in a better position. After a transfer window, should be in a better position, especially when the board have brought in a Don to replace.
Stop with the Don. It's only our fan base to call him that. We didn't call him that. He didn't call himself that. I know he is. And I agree with him.
I have every right for
my bullshit. No, I agree with you. I agree with you, Bobby, 100% on that. It's nonsense.
I should expect my football club to be in a better position than we were in the last season, and we're not.
Okay, so I'm going to agree with you on that, and I think you're 100% right. I'm also going to just throw in the idea that when it comes to a rebuild, rebuilds inevitably mean that you sacrifice something over the course of a period of time, meaning sometimes the season that's ahead of you isn't going to be as good as the seasons that will eventually be ahead of you. I'm only throwing that in there as and I know you're gonna take the piss, and it's fine. I deserve it. I'm just saying that a rebuild isn't one transfer window; it's multiple transfer windows. And this transfer window, we've done some things that needed to be done, getting rid of some players, selling some, making money off of them. And we haven't done some of the things we need to do to replace those players or to get us to the level we want to be at. But a rebuild is 2 or 3 transfer windows. Brian, I want to ask you.
I'll stop it. Let me just answer.
No, I'm cutting you off.
Let Bob speak. Let go on, Bob.
I don't want to rebuild.
Cutting you off, Bobby.
I don't want to rebuild. I want to build.
Yeah, well, we're in a rebuild. We have to rebuild because we were completely fucked.
I've seen a rebuild for 20 years, Brian.
Bobby,
I want to build.
Pochettino said we need to rebuild, and we spent 2 years not doing it.
How long ago was that?
I know, 2 years. So that's my point. So we need to rebuild, despite us not wanting to have to. That's what we have to do. It sucks, but it's reality. So fair enough. You got your position. I'm going to go to Brian here because I know he's going to say the same thing and make me look like an idiot. But I'm going to say it anyway. So where are we at from a transfer perspective? From you, are you like not happy, but how do you feel about the window so far, and what do we need to do to make you happy, if it's even feasible?
So. First of all,
if it's ever possible to make happen.
First of all,
see me bashing my head on my microphone right now.
First of all, I'm going to give the same number rating as Bobby, 3.
Yeah.
And before I start talking about Spurs, I just want to mention the filth down the road. Okay.
Oh God, why
I want to mention them is forget the amount of money they've ridiculously spent and overpaid. They needed to address their goalkeeper, a defender, and a creative midfielder. They've got a goalkeeper.
Do you think they did it well?
No, I mean, the state that, like I said at the beginning, they have overspent wildly. But what they've done is they've addressed the key areas. We have bought Galini. Now, Galini, I agree, is a great bit of business. The way it's structured, Lloris is leaving or maybe leaving, so we needed a goalkeeper. I get that. Romero is a great start, but we need a partner. You don't just bring in a solid defender and go, right, that sorts out the back four. That's it. We're done. We need, like I said, Arsenal have addressed their issues.
Have they, though?
I'm saying positional-wise, what they've spent the money on is addressing their issues. We needed 2 centre-backs, a right-back, a right winger, a central attacking midfielder, and a striker. We've got a goalkeeper, a central defender, and a right winger. We have done absolutely.
But okay, I'm going to throw in a fucking wrench into that. I would rather our window right now than theirs, despite the fact that they addressed the things that they addressed. They addressed them poorly.
Yeah, but you got to remember.
I'd rather not buy shit and wait than buy shit and expect something from shit.
I'm going to go back as well now to
That's my
I'm going to go back now to the Super League. So
It doesn't exist.
everyone protests. Everyone ranted and raved. Man U stormed the pitch. They hate the Glazers. They hate the Glazers. Have Sancho, Varane, and Ronaldo.
They got money. You can't compare ourselves to fucking
No,
Man
but
U,
they.
man.
I'm not saying spend that money.
It's not the It's the personnel they're bringing. It's the positions that they're bringing in rather than the personnel.
No,
Brian.
it is
Don't
the personnel. The quality of the transfer matters, Bob. You don't just bring a player in because it fits it. That's fucking stupid. Ben White comes in for 50 million for Arsenal's center half. He's not a good player. He doesn't address the situation. It addresses it on paper.
Okay.
It doesn't address it with quality. Come on.
He had one good season.
Come on.
He had one good season in the Premier League with Brighton. And what it is
really
now is his
you,
value to Brighton is 50 million. It's not his fault. And Arsenal was stupid enough.
It's Arsenal's fault.
No, Arsenal was stupid enough to pay
shit
it.
for doing it.
But this is a team that hate the Cronkies, that say they don't spend, and they've gone and spent the most in the Premier League.
Spending doesn't mean it's good.
No, but
spend well.
You're missing what I'm saying. But what they've done, I mean, their scouting system is
rubbish,
absolutely pathetic.
Yeah.
But they've gone and addressed.
Have they?
Yes, they have.
How do you say they've addressed something with a shit player? That's not addressing it. That's putting fucking Band-Aid on something that needs
Ben White,
an actual cast.
Ben White's going to turn into a good player.
Yeah, not at Arsenal.
Odegaard, whatever. Ramsdale or whatever his bloody name is, relegated 2 times.
I'd rather get none of those players and play with the squad.
No, what I'm saying is they've gone and said this is down to us.
Premier League experience in all three. Odegaard did make a difference, regardless how small. We made a difference. Ben White has played really well, and the way other players
really well.
Ramsdale is a Premier League goalkeeper.
Did you see Ben White in the first game of the season against Brentford?
It's first game.
They can come in. We haven't bought anyone who can come in to the first team squad and at least sit on the subs bench. No one. Apart from
Romero, we have.
Yeah, but even with them numbers, we're still short.
I don't disagree that we're not short. I just think I'd rather be short than have shit and then have to go. We got to get rid of that shit. Bobby, we complain about the shit we have in the squad. You want to buy more of it just to address a player or address a position?
No, I want to get quality players in. Who said buy shit?
Yeah, no, I know. That's my point. I'd rather not get anybody in than just a player to fit the position.
Get someone in so we can
no, someone doesn't mean anything. Someone could be worse.
The one thing I will say about
someone
this window,
could be worse.
We're not even doing that.
One thing I will say about this window, which could be an upper hand for us, and I've spoken to Bob about this. Me and Bob do not like the way Paratici operates with 10 players here, 10 players there, whatever.
I don't mind it.
But no, what I'm saying is this could have a huge effect come deadline day, because if we start renewing these interests, we're halfway down the road. We've made the inquiry. We've made the official.
Tomiyasu coming in, Bobby. Tomiyasu.
Please God,
for you, pal. At the end of the window, Tomiyasu.
Mate,
let's just get to Michael.
I just want to add one thing with the Tomiyasu.
I want to get Michael's opinion
with the Tomiyasu deal. I'm guaranteeing it. Do you remember with De Gea to United and the fax machine broke? That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen with us. I hope so. It'll go over to Michael now.
Get him in. Michael, what are your thoughts so far on our window, and where do you stand on the players we need and the players we've sort of brought in and not brought in? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think if I was going to rate it, I think I'd probably go a little bit higher. I'll give it a 4.
He's giving it a 4.
Look, I'd add to what Bob said around, we need to replace Vinicius. We need to replace Bale. We also need a right back. We absolutely need a right back. Look, we've got Aurier's out, and we needed to replace him for the last 3 years anyway. And Doherty, just go, please. I can't stand watching.
You're not Premier League quality.
I cannot stand watching him. So we definitely need a right back, and I don't even know if this Tomiyasu is a right back or not. I think
he's a right back and a right-sided.
He can play centre back.
Yeah, he can do both, which is actually a nice thing to have. It's similar to what we have with Tanganga.
Yeah, I like that.
You have a player who can do both, and they, if you have that, and you have depth in that, you have 2 players who can arguably do the same thing, meaning they could play right back or they could play right-sided centre half if you're playing 3 at the back. So I think it's positive.
I would like to have replaced Kyle Walker by now. And Tomiyasu is not that player, is he? He's a centre back who can play at right back. He's not that player, and neither is Tanganga. And in a time that we haven't been able to replace him, he's gone on and won 3 Premier League winners' medals, you know,
Yep.
and the Champions League runners-up medal and numerous other medals, and we still haven't been able to replace him. Why don't we go out and buy Max Aarons? You know,
Thank you.
Why do we not go
Aarons.
out? Why do we not go out and buy a player like Max Aarons?
Michael, why? Can I ask you a question quickly? Why do you think Max Aarons is good enough? He plays in the Championship for a Norwich team that isn't great. We've seen good things from him, but is he remotely close to as good as Kyle Walker? No, he's not. He's not even
potential.
He's not better than Tanganga in that position.
I think we went and brought Kyle Walker from Sheffield United when they were in League, maybe even League One.
Different time.
Yeah, but I think, you know, look, we went and brought Dele Alli from Milton Keynes when he was in League One. He came in. No one expected him to make the kind of impact he did, and you know, I know they're different players, but
that's
for me,
fair,
Max
fair.
Aarons.
You know what? I'm not going to fight you on that. I just think it's a bit absurd to think Max Aarons is going to all of a sudden solve our right back problems. I think Tanganga is as good as Max Aarons in that position, and he's more versatile. So I don't know that like bringing him in, other than for a depth position, because we need depth in every position, is a positive. I'm not like, oh, Max Aarons. He's not Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker was an anomaly. He was very, very good. We got lucky. Same with Danny Rose. We got lucky. Timing was brilliant.
Well, Carl Norton was going to be the biggest star out of the two when we actually signed him. He was the one
at Swansea and failing miserably. So
we've had a few like that, haven't we? We've had when we brought in Simon Davis and
Matthew Etherington.
Etherington was supposed to be the best.
Michael Dawson and Andy Reid.
It's the nature of players, though, right? Like you can't. You're always going to get what you want out of a player because you think it's going to be the solution, right? Like that's the sort of, you know, delusion that we have as supporters. Like, oh, this player's going to fix it.
Was it Aaron Lennon and Wayne Routledge brought in around the same time as well?
Yeah, I think so.
They might have been.
I think you're right on
John
that.
Bostock,
Oh, mate, you know what? That guy was so goddamn talented.
Yeah,
that guy
was so talented, but just didn't kick on. And that's the nature of it. All right, so we've talked a lot about Spurs transfers, and like I don't know, it's sort of this ongoing thing that I'm a bit bored with, to some extent. Of course, the window ends on Tuesday. We've seen a bunch of things happen with other clubs. So we want to talk a little bit about transfers with other clubs and how it affects the league and what does that mean for Spurs and where we finish in the league. And of course, the most obvious transfer that has happened today, which is absurd that it happened, is Ronaldo going back to United. There's a lot of, I have a lot of United friends. I do another show, another YouTube channel called The North End. So tune into that, check it out for chats just about football generally. The two of the guys I do it with are United fans. They're losing their shit. They're, you know, their panties are wet. They're just loving life at the moment. And my perspective on it is I think bringing Ronaldo into any team is going to improve a team, period. Right. Yeah. But the problem with United isn't that part of the pitch. It's their center defensive midfielder Matic, who I think is like 40 right now, and he can barely fucking run. So, you know, like that's where they struggle. You know, you can bring in Ronaldo. It doesn't fix that. It doesn't mean that they're going to be able to defend well or put themselves in a position to control the game. Michael, I'll start with you on this. When it comes to what you've seen in the transfer window from other teams, Chelsea, United, obviously City not getting Kane, just the overall sort of what you've seen in the transfer window and what Spurs have done in the transfer window, do you feel like where are we in that sort of conversation when it comes to top 6, top 7? You know, does Ronaldo's transfer mean United are going to win the league, which I think is absurd, but some of them are saying that. What do you think about what's going on in other teams? I think Lukaku was massive. I think that's a huge transfer. But yeah, I'd love to get your opinion, and we'll go around the horn as to what everybody thinks about other transfers for other teams and what it means to them and their squads and how it affects Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put our transfer window in the same conversation as Chelsea. Even City. City have improved their team from last year. A team that won the league and won the Carabao Cup and got to the Champions League final. They've improved it. You know, with Grealish, United brought in, you know, someone that's won 4 Champions Leagues and a World Cup, and now brought in Ronaldo. You know, we're not even in that conversation. Even Aston Villa have had a significantly better transfer window than us. And someone just said it in the chat. How did we not go and buy Danny Ings? How did we not go and buy Danny Ings?
I'm going to chime in on this quickly, Michael. Danny Ings played as many games last season as he didn't. That's why we didn't buy him.
But that'd be perfect for us because, you know, Harry Kane, you know, it'd be perfect complement to Harry to either play these Conference League games, play these Carabao Cup games, FA Cup games, play some of the league games that we can take the burden off Harry. And that's what we need. And a lot of players don't want to come and play second fiddle. That's been the narrative, isn't it? Over the last, how can we ever sign another striker? Because no one wants to play second fiddle to Harry.
Yeah.
I'm just bemused why we didn't even have a conversation or try and make that deal happen. But in terms of other teams in the league, I think Villa have done great business this season. I think Leicester have been absolutely fantastic in what they've done again. They're just a scouting network.
Their setup is better than anybody's, including all the best teams. They're just their recruitment is incredible.
Obviously I'm happy with Nuno, but I wanted Brendan Rodgers, and I wanted him to bring the director of football, the scouting director, the whole setup. Let's just
bring the chairman.
It actually starts there though. It does, like all of the things that they brought in are because of the chairman, not because of anything else.
And
like the chairman's got the shit together when it comes to winning.
In every element of that club, there's a strategy about what they want to do, where they want to go, and particularly in the transfer market. And Brian's probably smiling because I'm actually replicating the conversation that we had on my show on Tuesday night. I'm actually stealing from George from Ponder Pundits. I'm actually stealing what he said on my show, but he's spot on. They've particularly in the transfer market, they have a strategy. They've gone out and said, right, we need to replace Vardy at some point. We're going to bring in Daka, one of the most promising young strikers in Europe. So they're thinking really proactively. They've brought in Bertrand for free. They've brought in Vestergaard for next to nothing as well because he had a year left on his deal. So they are doing really, really good business. And I'm really impressed with them.
It's fucking really annoying.
Really annoying. And how they keep finding players like Kante, Ndidi, it's Telemans. It's really frustrating.
How are we not even remotely close to connected as that?
Daniel Levy.
I know, Brian. I was coming to that.
And what they've done this window as well. And I know they got beat at the weekend, or on Monday night. But what they've done in this window, they've done it for the same money as Ben White. To your point earlier, Brian, about Ben White being a lot of money. They've done all their business this season for the same amount of money as that. And I know we don't spend money, but we certainly haven't done the kind of business they have. For that kind of spend. So it is really frustrating and envious to look at that club. But the question you asked me about United, where do I think the Ronaldo deal puts them? I don't think it really. I don't know. I think Ronaldo's going to come and score goals, but for me,
how many goals, Michael, does he score? I told you about my friends. So that's what I said. I had some friends of mine who are United fans. They're like, he comes in, he scores 30 goals. I'm like, no, he fucking doesn't. It's not the Serie A. He's not going to score 30 goals
not the Ronaldo,
in the Premier League.
He's not.
He's going to get slaughtered by all the defenses who are just going to make him really uncomfortable physically. So yeah,
I've got a few friends that are Juventus fans. I'm half Italian, and I've got a few friends that are Juventus fans, and they've wanted him out since he joined. I think they liked the idea of the brand, the PR, the shirt sales, the pull, the credibility.
Team isn't as good, Michael. Understandably, right? The team doesn't gel.
What they tell me is he hinders the team. He hinders the style of play. It's all about him, the ego, the brand, run at CR7. It's all about him. And actually, he doesn't press. He doesn't help the style of play. And I think that would be the same case at United. Will he smash in a few free kicks, penalties, and goals, and do some great celebrations? And United will probably get another 15, 20 million Twitter followers overnight. Yes, all of that stuff. But does he get United closer to winning the league this season? I don't think so. I think that's Varane and Sancho that do that for me. Yeah,
100%, Michael. Bobby, your thoughts on transfers from other clubs? This transfer specifically, and like how much better business do you think other clubs are doing when it comes? Like I look at Villa and Leicester, and I think Michael sort of pointed those two out. I think those are the two probably clubs I'd look at when it comes to how we should be approaching what we're doing when it comes to identifying the right players in the right positions and doing it proactively rather than reactively. I think Villa did an amazing job, despite, there's a bit of time to determine how that's going to work out. But they knew Grealish was going. They looked at the players they needed to replace. They knew it was more than one, and they brought three in to fit what he does. That's something that, like, if you look at what Spurs were doing, potentially losing Kane, what 3 players would we have thought to bring in to do that? We didn't look at it that way, or even we didn't even have
for the future though. We're building for the future, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Right. But we didn't have thanks, Bobby. We didn't have players. We didn't have players that remotely even looked like that's what we were trying to do. It's a different approach. What are your thoughts on what other clubs are doing, and how we sort of fit into the idea of the window and where we'll be when it's closed?
Well, with me, rating it 3 out of 10, I would say every club that yourself and Michael has mentioned has done better than us, much better than us. Even a Villa, Leicester, United, City. I'm going to talk about. First of all, I'm going to bet all of you £10 each. That
is that what's happening? Do I have to stump up here?
Ronaldo will get more than 25 goals this season.
I'm with you.
I'll bet you.
I'm with you.
I'll bet you
for charity.
I don't think he gets more than. I don't think he gets more than 15.
All competitions.
Oh, different. I'll say, I can't.
Okay.
I can't,
all right.
I can't bet you on that.
What in all you think is
in the Premier League he doesn't get more than 15. In all competitions he probably gets 30 plus.
Really? All right. Okay. I'll go one better then. I'll say 25 goals in the Premier League. There you go. £10 bet.
I'll pay you £10.
I'll have that with you. Yeah, for charity.
Easy.
I'm not. I'm with Bob. I'll match Bob.
All right. So you and Michael are betting. Bobby and I are betting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on tape. 25
goals minimum.
No way.
Rez, I'm only taking it on live on air, mate. I'm not betting everyone in the fucking comments. All right.
So Rez is like, I'll take that ball. There he is. Well done, Rez. Glad you're here, mate. Pleasure on the show earlier.
Yeah. I've got it on tape, Bob. Rez is like, I've got it on tape.
Rez is like, I'm in. Let's bet.
Yeah, I just want to talk about what a fucking dickhead Pep is. The self-entitlement dickhead of a person who walks around thinking that he's entitled to every player that Man City wants is I'll take no, it's all right. I'm not going to go into
I was got a new game.
Yeah, I just think is a bit of a he's overrated as a coach anyway. That's a different subject anyway. But to sit there, Nuno was asked about Traore the other day, and his answer was he's a Wolves player, and of course I don't talk about him. He was asked. Pep was asked about Harry Kane, and he went into specifics so much, and why? I mean, I think he's just sexually attracted to Kane rather than actually wants him for.
He wants his own Harry Kane team, Bobspur. He wants his own Harry Kane team.
Pep, again, I always call
he's having a wank. Pep. He's having a wank with Harry.
If you're watching, Pep, come on and defend yourself. I always call him out. I just think there's some sort of attraction there, either sexual or just fantasy, but it just can't move on, mate. Get on with it. Just get on with your life. You've got an unbalanced £1 billion squad there that you haven't got a striker. You've got strikers turning your left down. You know why? Because your team haven't got any class. They know you've been caught out. You've been caught out. A so-called great coach has an imbalanced squad with all that money that you haven't got a striker. You've been found out. You've been found out, mate. You wouldn't last 6 months at Burnley. I'm saying you as if I'm speaking to Pep, but no, it's he wouldn't last 6 months at Burnley. Sean Dyche would go to Man City and win the Champions League, in my opinion, because he's a better coach than Pep. Pep is overrated. He's overhyped. He's only bought trophies. Harry Kane came to his senses and said, you know what, I'd rather win a trophy than go to a team that buys a trophy. Mate, honestly, he's been found out. He's got and he's probably crying his little fucking gold-coated cornflakes this evening, wondering where his next striker. I hate Manchester City more than I hate Arsenal right now. They're a bunch of wankers, and I can't think of anything more.
Bobby, they basically have ruined. I mean, I think Chelsea started it, but City have ruined the idea of like fair play in football, and everything they do, everything that they're about is absolute trash. And what I've loved about this window and the fact that Harry didn't go there is that this team that's supposed to get everything that they want, that are supposed to get the players that they want. And I think this is what's happening with Pep. He's whinging. He's right now going like, oh, like all the things I usually get to make sure that I win all the things that I want. He's not getting it. And he's being a whiny prick. And it's fucking glorious because they don't deserve. I'm really happy Ronaldo went to Man United. Not because I like Man United, but because at least they're a fucking club with history. Man City are just a state-owned piece of shit team. And if Harry Kane went there, it would just been like, oh yeah, you basically sold yourself to like football not being a thing you like anymore. I despise City in a different way. I wouldn't say more or less than Chelsea or Arsenal, and Arsenal in particular. But I despise what they've done to football and why it's just such a sad state of affairs. But in this situation, it's fucking glorious that they're the team right now in that six that are supposed to go on and do whatever they want because of the money they have that aren't going to get it.
Just one last thing. Unless
Brian's
Chelsea.
Right and Harry Kane goes eventually, and I hope he's
yeah. Just one last thing. I love the fact that Ronaldo's gone to Man United because Man United have always, I could take the banter, they've always shown class. They're a class team.
Yeah,
Ferguson,
I can't disagree.
What they stand for, the shirt, whatever.
It's football.
And I've said before, I'd rather be the next Manchester United than the next Manchester City. I'd rather Spurs be the next Man United. With regards to Chelsea, the fans don't shy away for the fact. You know what? It's because of our chairman. It's because we've got loads of money. They don't shy away from it. They take it. They own it. They say yeah. And with all the managers that they've had, be it a Conte, be it a Ranieri, they're all lovable managers in a way. We all can relate to them, and they've always shown that they are human. Pep walks around like he's a fucking king of the fucking jungle. Everyone owes him shit. And he sits there talking about fucking our player as if is like his own property that's on loan somewhere. Oh, I hope he enjoys the rest of his life in London. Fucking too right he will, mate, because after 2 years you'll be fucked off. And look at which other club.
You hang on your miserable fucking money. Manchester, you prick.
Overrated. Yeah. He would not last 6 months at Burnley. No fucking chance because he hasn't got the balls. He had first season 100%. where he finished third in the league, and that cracked over because he was like miles behind us. We finished second. What does he do next season?
Give me money.
Spends 100 million on a fucking couple of fullbacks and a goalkeeper, if not more.
Or one of those being our fullbacks. Just quickly to Sean Snow's point, and this is absolutely true, and I'm glad because fuck them. State-owned clubs have yet to win a Champions League, and that's of course Man City and PSG. I'm going to say in the conversation.
I'm going to say this, and it's wrong of me to say this, but Cody, cover your ears. It's a fact. Man City have more alleged sex offenders than what they have Champions Leagues.
Why are you saying that to Cody? What are we talking about with Cody? Did he say something in the comment?
Yeah, he didn't want me to say it.
Absurd. It's absurd. I just love that in this transfer window, if it continues as it has, that City, the club that arguably should be able to, based on what they have financially, like power-wise, aren't going to get anything that they want. No Ronaldo, no Harry Kane, no Lionel Messi. They've all gone to different clubs, despite them going to clubs that, we can argue about. But Man City, the club that have been cheating for the last, since they decided to be state-owned, are finally getting shafted to some extent. I hope that holds. If it doesn't, I'm going to be a sad human. But it's fucking great because they don't deserve it at all.
So I'm going to have my say on the transfers now. Now, I don't think people can. I think they're underestimating the power and what this Ronaldo transfer is. I was on Bob Spur's show. I think it was one of the Thursdays he did, not in the wall where we did Champions League, whatever.
Anyway, what are you
and I said Chelsea first, Man City second, Man United second. Hands down, this is how big this is. I think the deal of the season and the way it was done is Danny Ings. No one had a goddamn clue that was happening.
It's the best transfer of the window. I'd agree.
Yep. The best one that's conducted themselves was the Aston Villa chairman over the or CEO over the
wonderful announcement
over the speech over Grealish.
So
and
on point, brother.
The difference between Chelsea and Man City, what you've got to remember is everyone knows the drill at Chelsea. I'm going to back you. You fuck up, you're gone.
Yeah.
Roberto Di Matteo won the Champions League for them. All right, he came in halfway through.
After somebody got sacked.
Yeah, after someone got sacked. But then literally he was sacked before Christmas the next season.
Yeah, because
they spent.
He was in a good management.
But they backed him.
Team.
They backed him. He didn't get the results he wanted. Gone. The one thing Chelsea do is say, all the money in the world, I'll back you, I'll back you, I'll back you. You fuck up, it's on your head and your job. And that's what Chelsea do. And with Tuchel, they have struck gold at the right time. And if they get Koundé over the line, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Jesus Christ, I fear for us.
I actually think I predicted on my other channel that I think Chelsea win the league this season comfortably, to be honest. Like I think City are a good team, but Chelsea's depth in quality is better than anybody's in the league. Even with Ronaldo at United, I think that idea that Ronaldo changes things all of a sudden they're going to win something, I just don't think it's true. Their biggest issue is a defensive midfielder. They played Matic, who's like 38, against fucking Southampton and was terrible. With Fred in the midfield, not playing Van de Beek. They're not going to challenge City right now, as we know about when it comes to their goal to sign a striker, not getting Harry Kane means they're kind of fucked. The team that is the most deep, that has beaten the champions more than any other team comfortably, I think it's 3 times in different competitions, is Chelsea. I fucking hate it. I hate Chelsea. I don't want them to win anything, but they're better than City. They're better than United. They're better than Liverpool at the moment. So sadly, I think that they're the team to beat at the moment. And they bringing in Lukaku. He was average in the Premier League with United. He went to Italy and became a striker proper. And I know that Italy is different.
A man as well.
Yeah. And
as a physical specimen.
And Michael, I think that what you just said, I think, is the key. It isn't necessarily just about him improving as a player. He improved as a human. He understood, I have to do this now. I have to sacrifice this. I have to do these things in these situations. He is going to be I think he's probably going to get the golden boot this season. I think if Kane was in a side like that, he'd easily get it. But I think unfortunately, I think Chelsea are going to slaughter the league, and I think they're going to make most of the even Liverpool, who I think are better than most people are giving them credit for, Chelsea are going to be really good. I hate it, but they're going to be really good. Their depth is ridiculous.
Correct.
In every position. It's absurd because they have the money to do it. I mean, Spurs, we all want it. We're not going to get it because we don't have the money. But they have it, and they built it in like every position. Like Timo Werner was like, what did they pay for him? 50 million? 50 million last year?
Yep. Well, I think
ridiculous amount of money.
Season.
Scored like 6 goals.
I think he's going to be great.
I think he's going to be great because he's going to drag everybody away and let Lukaku do what he does. All the goals, like they created the most opportunities, goal scoring opportunities out of any team in Europe last season, Chelsea, and had the least amount of they didn't finish the least amount. It was absurd. It was just like if you had a goal scorer, if you had Harry Kane or a Lukaku, they put Lukaku in that, he scores 40, 50 goals this season almost. If they continue that route, if they play the way they played. Sucks. I fucking hate it because I hate Chelsea, but fucking hell, unreal. They're gonna make City. They beat City 3 times in a row. City, I think City are second. Chelsea win. I think Liverpool probably third. I'm just throwing this out there because I feel like it. I think Man United 4th. Maybe they challenge for that 3rd position with Ronaldo, but it really comes down to a 36-year-old Ronaldo who looks really good in the Serie A with Juventus side that is the best team and has been the best team in the league for a long time. Does that translate in the Premier League? I don't think so. He scored 30 goals, 30 plus goals. I think he scores 10, 15 maybe. Is he a 9?
Who's that? Who are you talking about? Who?
Ronaldo. Is he a 9 in that Man United side?
He's a whatever you want.
No, I know, but like he's not a number 9 generally. Like, that's not his what he is. I'd be shocked if that changes United's position by more than 2 or 3 positions. I think it maybe puts them like definitely going to get top 4 now, but not like they're title challengers. Yeah. I don't think they're title challengers at all. I think They have to get a defensive midfielder to replace Matic if they're going to challenge for anything.
I certainly wouldn't write Ronaldo off.
I didn't write him off.
I still think he's got a huge amount to offer. But I don't see. Obviously, we've had the bet, so I clearly don't see 25 goals coming from him.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. I do think he's going to have a massive effect on United going forward. But United, that isn't their issue. Their issue isn't what they have going forward. They have a ton of talent in that position. They'll score a few more goals for sure, and that's valid. But does that change the fact that they have zero defensive midfielders other than Matic, who is crap at 36? Why are you spending that much money on that player when you need a Conte? Like, buy Conte or a player that's of that level. Conte is the reason why Chelsea, Leicester have won the league the way they've won it, because they have that player who ensures that defensive setup for each of those teams doesn't get fucked. They don't have that at all. So they're, Ronaldo all the United fans are going to have it a wank tonight, looking at all of his wonderful goals he scored from outside the box and his free kicks, and it's going to be like, Roddy,
like we were,
love you, Roddy, you're the best.
Like we were with Bale.
Exactly it's exactly the same. And then
he's bigger,
exactly the same. Yeah, he's bigger and better, but it's exactly the same idea. And then the reality is going to set in. It's like, Ronnie, I only have a semi. It isn't as good as I thought it was.
I need some fresh air before I absolutely die.
Yeah, well, it's really hot in here, guys. Any last words? Because we're an hour and 45 minutes, and it's been a pleasure. You guys have any thoughts on the window so far? Anything you'd like to see before we sign off?
The only thing I was going to touch on, which was just going back to Chelsea just ever so quickly, is, and I know we talked about how they spend a lot of money and the managers get backed, but actually, if their spending, their net spend actually over the last 10 years is nowhere near as bad as what anyone thinks, and it pales in comparisons to City's. So I think their net spend over the last 10 years is just shy of 500 million, whereas City's net spend is over $1 billion.
Yeah.
And when you look at the 8 trophies that Chelsea have won in the last 10 years, that's £62 million spent per trophy. So that's less than an Ndombele per trophy.
Yeah, you know what the thing is, just to chime in quickly, Michael, the thing about Chelsea that really annoys me, despite obviously Abramovich and sort of what he has done when it comes to like the money he's brought, the process and the thought and how they're doing what they're doing, even when it comes to sacking a manager after they've been there for 6 months and they're crap, and then hiring somebody else, like Lampard, what happened last season, bringing in Tuchel, amazing. Like, they just, for some reason, somehow make really fucking good decisions for the club that end up putting them in a position where they're going to win shit. It's really annoying. It's like, come on. How the fuck are they doing that? Like, it isn't, I mean, at least it shouldn't be like magical, but it seems like it is. It's shocking that they continuously, every season,
they have an absolute disaster under AVB, sack him,
hire another manager,
and then go and win the Champions League.
Bish Bosh, win some shit. It's fucked.
They do the same with Tuchel, you know.
And you know what? And again, it does come down to, and I think we all know this, it comes down to the amount of money they're willing to spend on the replacement. When you bring in Conte, and he says, I need these things in order to succeed, and the team and the management and the chairman and the owner says, okay, here you go. All the things you need. They're going to win. They're going to do it because he gets all the things he needs. If Jose Mourinho got that last season from Spurs, and he said, I need this player, and this player, and Levy went out and said, okay, bought them all, we probably would have won something. Because that's sort of what those managers need. It's I don't really want to win that way, but arguably that's what happens with a manager like Conte, as we've said about Pep. It's just the nature of it. You buy titles, you buy trophies nowadays. That is how it is. It sucks, but that's how it is.
Yeah. I think just the point I was trying to make on Chelsea is, yes, they spend a lot of money, but actually I think they run their business. They run the business element of it really well, and they've got that loan system. With it, they've got 70-odd players out on. I was going to
say, Michael, yeah, that's a big part of it. The loan system in their academy is massive, right?
Players they don't even play. They're renewing their contracts now. They've got players that they haven't even played.
And Michael, there's something about the quality of the players that they have in their system that is striking to some extent as well. We're always about, like, when it comes to Spurs, looking at our academy, we're like, oh, there's this guy and there's this guy and there's this guy. And Chelsea are like, we've got like 50 of those guys, and we're going to put them all on loan, and we're going to make them valued at like 10 or 15 million, sell them all, and buy all the players we want. I don't know what they're doing that's different, but it's very different.
That's right. Didn't they just renew his contract and then send him out on loan again?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. It's absurd. It's absurd. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how to measure it, but it's fucking bizarre. And I mean, there's part of me that wishes we had it, and then there's the other part of me that's like, I'm glad that we're not just a money team and all that stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Bob said earlier around Manchester United. You know, and when we were talking about rebuilds earlier, I do agree that on the rebuild front, I hate the way that terminology is used as an excuse for just poor decisions, poor performance, poor strategy in the transfer market. But that's a rebuild. That's why you can't have X, Y, and Z player. You know. But you look at United, what they've done over the last.
Sorry, go ahead,
Ferguson. Yeah, they had to. He rebuilt that team over and over and over and over again during his tenure, and he still won the league every time. Every time. Yeah. They still got quality
understanding
players.
of how to keep moving players on and keep bringing players through and keeping the mentality and keeping the understanding of what he wanted. He was
totally appreciate that Poch wanted a painful rebuild. Yes. It didn't need to be painful. A rebuild, yes, to keep us in the top four, to keep us challenging, in latter stages of Champions League. Where
it's a good show. Michael, that could have been something Poch fucked up on a little bit. Is he could have approached it in a way where he said to Levy, is like, look, we don't need to change the world here. We need to change a couple of things slowly, and we'll build through it, right? But I think maybe he probably did that, and who really knows? I would just shout out quickly to Matt Barr, who's a good friend of mine, and a Spurs fan, and one of my good mates. Good to see you in the comments, buddy. Awesome stuff. We are he's about almost 2 hours in, and Brian can't deal with it. It's too hot in here anymore, so he's just like, I'm out of here. So I'm just rolling on. Any last words, Bobby? I'll go to you first. Of course, you've got your porn in front of you, so I don't want to take too much of your time out. Any last words on sort of like what you, from just a base kind of understanding of like, what do you, based on what we've seen so far in the preseason and what we've seen so far in the first couple of games, including the Conference League, what do you expect from Spurs this season?
All depends on how we do in the next few days, mate. If I'm honest with you, if we keep the same,
ask again essentially, and after the window.
Yeah. I mean, if we get the two players in that are ideally one, a striking option and a right back, then I think we can do a bit better. And it does make a difference. Two quality players in will make a difference. But yeah, I mean, I'm an optimist, believe it or not. I think top four. If we get the right players in, if not, there's no reason why we can't look at a Europa League pace. But
fifth or sixth sort of scenario.
Yeah. I mean, it all depends what players we bring in, what quality, and then we'll see. There's no way our first 11, when you look at the likes of a Lloris, a Romero, a Reguilon, a Højbjerg, a Sonny, a Kane, you can't tell me these aren't top four players. These are top four players.
Yeah.
We just need to improve around them. So,
absolutely, I agree. That's spot on. Michael, your last words and thoughts on what you would like to see happen in the season, what you think, based on what we've seen so far in the preseason and in the first couple of games, and of course the Conference League. Are you confident? Are you feeling good? Where's your headspace at?
I think top six is a must. I think as for a club of Tottenham's stature and size, and some of the quality world-class players in Son and Kane that we have at the club, top six is an absolute must. We have to do it. We can't let West Ham finish above us again. I want to finish fourth. Obviously, I want to get in that top four. It depends what we can possibly do.
Watching the draw was fucking torture. I didn't even watch it. I was like, I can't watch it. Running the draw. Sorry, go on, Mike.
How do we? Yeah, so we need to get. That's aspirationally where we need to be getting back. And if we can push into the top four this season, fantastic. I think it'll be a huge ask, but we have to be top six with fifth or sixth, along with Leicester, for me. And you look at last season, 20, I think it was 21, 22 points lost from winning positions last season. If we can, I mean,
that's a big thing. Even if you half that, you're in a good place, right?
Exactly. And we finished 5-6 points outside of Champions League last season. I know all the teams above us have strengthened and got better. So, that gap could possibly be a lot bigger this season. Mm-hmm. But 21, 22 points points lost from losing positions. If Nuno can address that, and it looks like, already we look a lot more solid and cohesive, and it looks a lot more like there's
compact at the back, right? Like we look more confidence defensively.
And although that seemed to be the only game plan under Mourinho, Dele Alli said it, didn't he? It's just defending and kicking the ball on, on the documentary. I'm not saying that's what Nuno's doing at all. We just look sharper. We look fitter. We look more like we've got more concentration. We look like more of a unit in the opening 2 Premier League games that I've seen. So if that's hopefully a pattern, a footprint for a blueprint for what we're going to see going forward, I think we can improve on that 20 odd points lost from winning positions rather. Sorry, it's 2 a.m. over here.
No, exactly. Michael, on that note, plug your channel, mate. Wait.
Before we plug your channel, and we're going to get to this because I did want to get your thoughts. If you don't want to give them, that's fine. But so far, just on the transfer window for Spurs, what do you see happening based on what we've seen so far? In this season, like, how are you feeling about it?
I'm going to make this very precise because
please do.
It's 2 a.m. back home. Transfer activity, shit. Fitness at the club, fantastic. Love that they're warming up at half time. Excited for the future. Nuno in, Levy out. Michael, plug your channel.
Boom. See, there you go. He's efficient when you need it to be. Please, Michael, tell us about This Is Football TV.
Yes.
We'd all want to come on, Bobby, myself, and Brian. But talk about it a bit for us.
So the concept is called Football Fights. So the idea, I got the idea through listening to like ridiculous phone-ins on TalkSport and people ringing in with their mad opinions. Just having arguments with my mate about who's better, Ronaldo or Messi or Lampard or Gerrard, who's got the best ever defensive centre-back pairing. We had that argument this week with Brian. Was it Campbell and Toure, or was it Ferdinand and Vidic? So it's those kind of questions. We have those kind of arguments. It's a competitive format. So we have 3 fighters, and I'm the ref. The 3 fighters come on. There's 3 rounds. You get a point for the best argument. So whoever can make the best argument in that round will win a point. And then whoever's got the most points at the end of the fight.
Bobby, this is built for you, buddy.
Whoever's got the most points at the end of the fight will be crowned the Football Fights champion. And then the idea is to hopefully get enough people together to get a Champions League style format going, or an FA Cup style format going, knockout competition. I'm going to get a WWE style belt, and I'm going to give it to that person.
Brian probably has one, I think.
I don't know. If I could find a Dwayne The Rock Johnson one, I would take it, no doubt.
Brian loves his wrestling.
So we had on this week's show, we had who's done the best transfer business so far this season. We had who will be the first Premier League manager to be sacked, and we had the best ever foreign import into the Premier League. And the guys, we had an Arsenal fan, a Chelsea fan, and Brian representing Tottenham. And it was just brilliant to see, and people having to argue for things that they wouldn't necessarily. You come here and talk about Tottenham on every show. Here in Football Fights, there's an opportunity to start talking about, Zola is the best ever foreign import, or who Cantona is. So it's a nice way to diversify as well, and bring football fans together to talk about things other than their club as well.
Nice, fantastic stuff. Now I'm going to unfortunately have to go to Bobspur because it's fucking annoying. Bobby, I love you, Bobby. Tell us a little bit about how people can find you, because you're basically everywhere. I mean, they don't have to find you; they just have to turn on YouTube.
Yeah, no, any telephone box. No, first of all, that Michael show sounds brilliant. I'd love to come on that, man.
Yeah, get Bobby on. He'll crush.
I think I could fight a corner. I think
I think you'd do all right, Bobby.
I'll do okay. But in the wall tomorrow, Saturday nights, or later on tonight, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Michael will be making his debut on that show.
Oh, fantastic.
Nice, Michael. Good to see you
there, Michael.
Looking forward to it.
Brian Daigle, of course, will always be on, and then we'll have the usual Mari. Iggy.
I don't do Saturday nights, as you know, Bobby.
I know, mate. I'm not too asking. I know. And then I've got the day after the day the day after, day before show, which is an afternoon after the game.
The match on the
which
weekend.
will be Monday afternoon. I might need to change times with that because I have got work this week, but I'll sort it out one way or another. And that's it. I just got 2 shows a week. Apart from that, I just whore out myself at any other channel that's going, really.
And you're really good at that because you're basically on every fucking channel. You know, Brian,
Mate,
I'm
going.
Brian and I hoard ourselves out for a day, right? On a Friday before our show, like we're like, all right, let's get on every channel, everybody's show, Kirsty's show. And then it was like, oh, Bobby's there. Oh, Bobby's there. And Bobby's like, oh, the 2 Bryans are going to see you guys in 10 minutes, which is great. I mean, you know, fantastic stuff. I just want to thank you, Michael. It's been a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me on, guys.
Definitely we'll have you back. Really, really
Thank
good.
you very much.
Fantastic stuff. Bobby, I can't say the same. You're a bit of a prick.
I just want to say something. I just want to say if you can get onto Talk and Ball, search YouTube. Talk and Ball is doing live stream at the moment. A good friend of our family.
Oh yeah, get on there.
Yeah, Colin is doing a live stream at the moment. Talk and Ball is great. His mum's on as well.
Oh, she's brilliant.
And they literally talk shit. That's what the stream's called, talk shit. So
love that.
Get on there. It's called Talk and Ball. Just Google it. Just search the name, and it's a little ginger man with his mum talking football.
Cheers, Bobby. Thank you for everybody who's watching. Tottenham on Tour. Like and subscribe. Smash the like on the video. We are sort of a semi-new channel where we've started this channel a few weeks back and from a previous channel, and we just want to get everybody watching what we're doing. We're tons of fantastic content, including Bob Spur, despite what you know about him already.
Bob Spur's the man.
He's fantastic. I love the guy. I'm only taking the piss because he's one of my favorite people. This outro here is Bob Spur, his video work. Fantastic video work. He's absolutely fantastic. So thank you for watching Tottenham on Tour. Thank you for watching the 2 Bryans. We'll see you guys soon.
Come on, you Spurs.
Levy out.
Peppy shit.